go. All right, so my name is Michael DeLue. Today is December 4th, 2020, and I'm going to be your host today for Pull Up the Tape. Before I get into the politics of today's episode, I would like to ask that if you're listening to this podcast via any of the platforms that I'm streamed on, thanks to Anchor, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, share this podcast with anybody you know that loves sports, all right? I consistently talk about basketball, football, soccer, boxing, UFC. I do it all except for baseball. I'm not really a big fan of baseball, but share this podcast with anybody you know that loves sports. You feel me? Support, share. I'm going to do my part and consistently upload every single day. You guys got to help me out, do your part, and help me get to the next level. And if you're watching this podcast via my YouTube channel, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe if you already haven't, man. I can't stress and emphasize how much that means and how important that is. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this video to 5 likes. That's not even a lot of people. 5 people. If you're listening to this video, this podcast, just hit the like button. It only takes like 2 seconds. Like, come on, support. It means a lot. Support. All right, well, with that being said, I'm going to get into the politics of today's episode. So today's episode is going to be dominated by basketball. Not dominated, but we're going to talk about basketball for a good amount. And then I'm going to touch a couple topics on the NFL. So the first topic I want to talk about when it comes to basketball is the Milwaukee Bucks. And they're in a difficult situation right now because they are on the cusp of seeing probably the best player in their team's history besides Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just leave. So this time next year, it's not a given that Giannis is going to be on the active Milwaukee Bucks roster. He could be there. He could also be somewhere else. I personally think he'll be somewhere else, but hey, it's just something we'll have to wait and see. But although his current head coach Mike Budenholzer and Khris Middleton might not have the answers, they've let their intentions be known, like straight up. And this is what Khris Middleton had to say this week. I have a lot of respect for Giannis. In my situation last year, he told me how he felt, and that's all I can do in return. I think we're more than friends at this point. We've spent 8 years together. We've been through a lot together. So at the end of the day, I want him to do what's best for him and his family. He knows that I deeply want him to return and sign this extension, but at the same time, I know he's got a big decision that he's got to work through himself and with his family at home because those are the most important people. Whatever he does, he knows that I'll support him to the fullest. So I've talked to him. I gave him my 2 cents in my opinion or tried to convince him. And at the end of the day, I'm going to always love him and appreciate whatever he has to do. So, like I said, Giannis is on the verge of becoming a free agent at the end of this upcoming season, and he has until December 21st to sign a 5-year, $228 million Supermax extension. And here's my thing. I honestly think that the Milwaukee Bucks doomed themselves when they chose to go the cheaper route and not pay Malcolm Brogdon. They didn't pay Brogdon. They gave and look how that turned out. Look exactly how that turned out. Brogdon went to Indiana and became a very, very good player. Not became. He was already a very, very good player. But you can tell that he is an important part of their team and what they do, and he's going to be an important part of the team in the upcoming years to come. But the thing that worries and troubles me the most is they really could have kept him. And when it comes this is where your front office comes into play. The front office is supposed to recognize and lead the franchise in the best direction possible. That means, okay, when it comes to 2 players, okay, we got to look at who's younger, who's older, or who's more fit. Like, you got to look at all these different things when it comes to like who we're going to pay and who we're not going to pay. And to keep it 100, they paid the wrong person. I think if Malcolm Brogdon was on the team instead of Eric Bledsoe, they would have they wouldn't. I don't think that series would have went down the way it did. Eric Bledsoe, I've said it over and over and over and over again. Eric Bledsoe disappears in the playoffs. He literally every play. Look, watch every series every season that he has played with the Bucks and they made it to the playoffs. Look at his regular season stats and look at his playoff stats. Everything dramatically decreases. His points decrease. His field goal percentage decreases. His assists decrease. His rebounds decrease. What does that tell you? Like, bro, they put out an APB for him in the 2019 Eastern Conference Finals because he literally went ghost. He went ghost also in the playoffs against the Heat last year. They paid this dude over Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon averaged 16 last year, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. And shot 33% from the field. And not to mention, he's an excellent on-ball defender, excellent wing defender. They copped out. They copped out. They should have paid him, and the Bucks digressed and went out horrible last season, and they're trying to convince Giannis that they're a competent organization and they can build a winning team around him, and so they went out this offseason and they did acquire Drew Holiday, who's an excellent guard. Went out and got Drew Holiday. But I personally don't think that's going to be enough. Don't think it's going to be enough. They got Drew Holiday. They have Khris Middleton. They have Giannis. First of all, I'm going to keep it 100. Giannis, as it is not good enough to be the best player on a championship team. I'm going to say it right then and there. There's probably going to be a lot of people who don't agree with me, but I'm telling you right now, until Giannis can consistently hit a jump shot, Giannis is like Giannis during when he has to play against a competent defense, and he's not like I don't want to compare Giannis to Blake Griffin, but a lot of what I saw in Blake Griffin's playoff career is happening to Giannis. At a certain point, he gets to a certain part of the playoffs where he can't consistently do what his bread and butter, which is getting to the basket. Like they take all of that away from him, and then what happens? What happens when Giannis becomes damn near ineffective? He's still going to get his 20 because, obviously there's going to be possessions where he can easily get to the rack. But for the most part, his bread and butter, when he needs to actually get to the rack, teams are stopping that in the playoffs because they can own in on it. Who's like Khris Middleton he's a good player, but he's not that guy. And like I already said, it's easy to hone in on a player as good as Giannis when his teammates are disappearing. And he has nobody to help him orchestrate the offense, get into the offense. Eric Bledsoe disappears. Khris Middleton, not really that guy. Like, they yes, in the regular season, they're going to run through teams and look like an elite team. But, man, honestly, at this point, nobody cares what they do in the regular season. They just want to see what they do in the playoffs. And honestly, man, if Giannis is really, 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 really serious about winning a championship, he's going to leave. If Giannis is actually serious about winning a championship, he's going to leave. Straight up. If Giannis is serious about winning a championship, he's going to leave. Like I said, honestly, the fact that AD, honestly, the way, even if they would have got Bogdanovich, I still don't think they had enough. The fact that the Lakers were able to sign LeBron to a contract extension and re-sign AD, the Lakers are fielding out a team that's better than their team last year. They re-signed AD to a 5-year contract. It's 4 and 1, 4 and a player option. So AD's locked in with the Lakers until the 2024-2025 season. Like, it's guaranteed he's going to be on the Lakers until then. No. Yes. The 2024-2025 season. LeBron's going to be on the Lakers until guaranteed the 23 season, 2023 season. That's the end of that. It's his last year. And then he has a player option the next year. They have Montrezl Harrell. They signed Dennis Schroeder. They signed the winner and the runner-up for the sixth man of the year. They signed Wesley Johnson. Re-signed Markieff Morris. Still have Alex Caruso. Re-signed KCP. Signed Marc Gasol. This is a good team. The Bucks could not beat that team in a 7-game series, man. I'm gonna say it again. The Bucks cannot beat. The Lakers are repeating. I'm gonna say that too. But look, to get back to my point, if Giannis truly wants to win a championship, he has to leave. He can't get it done. He can't get it done at Milwaukee. They're trying to overcompensate now by making these last minute. They missed their chance. Letting Brogdon go was the beginning of the end. Letting Brogdon go almost ensured they weren't going to never win a championship or come close. And they haven't been. Man, disappointing. Very disappointing. That just goes to show you how small a championship window is for a team. You had a player like Giannis, and you let a vital part of your team like Malcolm Brogdon just walk out the door. Oh my God. Sheesh. To my next topic. So it just seems like the Los Angeles Clippers it seems like all they really are good at doing is talking. Because Markieff Morris had some words to say today. And it was not today, earlier in the week. So he was just talking about how he felt like when you really boil it down, he said the Denver Nuggets weren't a better team than them. And maybe on paper they're not a better team, but on the court they actually are. So I'm going to disagree with him. And it's crazy that he thinks that because you lost 3 games in a row to them after being up 3-1. So if you couldn't put this team out, I don't know. I'm struggling to understand and realize his point, but this seems to be a consistent thing when it comes to people on that roster because he talks a lot. Patrick Beverley talks a lot. Paul George talks a lot. And most of the time when these individuals are talking, it really doesn't make sense. And that's a perfect segue into this point I'm about to prove and the blasphemy that I'm about to react to that occurred this week. So it's no secret that Paul George is probably one of the most scrutinized players in the NBA, and rightfully so. Okay? He does a lot of talking, but when it's time to really shut up and show up, he's sort of just like Eric Bledsoe. But he's a lot better than Eric Bledsoe, so a lot more is expected of him, and it's kind of comes as a surprise when he plays like a doo-doo daddy. So Paul George struggles with accountability, and that's what kind of led to that's what led to his falling out with Montrezl Harrell and him at the end of last season, because Montrezl Harrell felt like Paul George was never held accountable for his mistakes, his shortcomings, and anytime he played bad. So Paul George was on, which is true, just true. Paul George played like a bum in 2017. Against the Utah Jazz when Donovan Mitchell was a rookie. Played like a bum the next year. No, he played like a bum in the 2018 playoffs. Played like a bum in the 2019 playoffs. He played like a bum in the 2020 playoffs against the Nuggets. Played like a bum in 2019 against the Blazers. And played like a bum in 2018 against the Jazz. 3 years in a row. Bum, bum, bum. The year before that, he played like a bum too. His last year in Indy, didn't really perform the hottest. But there's a lot of media bits of Paul George just popping his mouth, saying stupid shit. So this week, it happened again. he was on all the Smoke podcasts with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Great podcast, by the way. And he was once again deflecting the blame again, not holding anything accountable. Started off by saying, this was the first summer that he wasn't able to work, he wasn't able to do pickup games and be at training camp and build camaraderie with the team because of his shoulder surgery. Maybe, I guess, maybe he has a point there. But I remember also seeing him on Instagram Live with Dennis Schroeder during the lockdown, and he was just bragging about, I'm getting healthy. Yeah, we're itching for the league to come back. I'm getting healthy. Okay, so then what? Bum ass nigga was bragging about he's getting healthy to do what? Come back and hit the side of the fucking backboard in a game 7 after being up by like 15 against the Nuggets? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? So then he also goes on to say the way I was being used by Doc was trying to play me like Ray Allen or JJ Redick. All pin downs. I can do it, but that ain't my game. I need flow. I need mixes of pick and roll and post ups. So honestly, that when I heard that shit, I was just like, no, this doesn't sound about right. Leave it to the internet to quickly prove that to be false. So Paul George finished this past season with a 33% of his plays that he scored on using pick and roll, which was a career high. His career high before this season was 25% in OKC. This is I hate to break it to you, buddy, but this is very different from the role Ray Allen and JJ Redick ran. So once again, deflecting blame, and I think he's a coward and a chump, and he looks like a fucking clown for trying to do this. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. What does Doc Rivers have to do with you hitting the side of the backboard? What does Doc Rivers have to do with you bricking shot after shot after shot? These are all good shots that he usually makes, but he's not him. He doesn't have it. So for him to then go on this podcast and like essentially throw that dude under the bus, just it's very puzzling to me, and it just like makes me wonder like why, how, like I don't know. It's very puzzling to me, and then it just makes me think like, damn man, what's really up with this dude? Like he can I've never honestly heard Paul George accept any blame for anything that has ever transpired that he has done on the basketball court. Like even when Damian Lillard sent them home packing in 2019, the first thing this dumbass decides to do is say that was a bad shot. I don't care what anyone says, that was a bad shot. Paul George, where the fuck have you been? Open your eyes. He's been hit. He was hitting shots like that the entire series. How the fuck was that one the bad shot? And how did you not know he was going to shoot that? Man, there's a man. Paul George is comedy, and this was his first time. This is his like first time speaking since the whole. I feel like this is the first time I've heard his name. Like I've not even heard his name, seen him talking since the 3-1 debacle and him hitting the side. Paul George for 3, way off. I will never forget that. Which leads to my next point. And apparently it was more to it. The Clippers actually had a lot of like locker room issues, and stemming from the way Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were treated. Specifically, Paul George, because his teammates felt like, okay, Kawhi is the reigning Finals MVP, but what have you actually done in the playoffs in the past, I don't know, years? Nothing. But apparently, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were horrible leaders. Those two niggas as the best players on the team are specifically why the Clippers didn't win a championship, and it doesn't come as a surprise now that all this stuff is coming out. But Kawhi Leonard and Paul George had the power over the team practices and the travel schedule, and leading teammates to believe that on multiple occasions they were the reason that practice got canceled. Kawhi was allowed to live in San Diego, pick what games he wanted to play, what time, when he wanted to practice, and so was Paul George. And I'm just sitting here like, no. See, that's special treatment. They were allowed to bring their own bodyguards, own trainers, and honestly do whatever they want. They could practice whenever they wanted. They could play whatever. They could pick what games they wanted to play. And honestly, that honestly just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And like it right there, I didn't know this, but from the start, yeah, they were just cheating the grind and just cheating. Yeah, they didn't deserve to win shit. They didn't deserve to win shit because there's no way you're gonna win a championship if your two best players are doing that. Like that, honestly, logically makes zero fucking sense. You choose when, like, what? You choose when you're going to practice and what games you're going to play? And then you live 2 hours away from the city you play in? How does that make sense? And then you get like, oh, no. I knew they got special treatment, but I didn't know it was this bad. And honestly, I think that's bogus and that's nonsense. And I would, if I was the owner of the team or the general manager, I would never have allowed that. Never have. Not for both of them, especially not for Paul George. And it's quite obvious why they weren't able to win anything. Because I mean, look at the people setting the tone for the team. Fucking phonies, cheating the grind, cheating the process. As opposed to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, who in their first practice, Anthony Davis calls out Bron and on some shit that Bron did wrong, and Bron responded to that in a positive way. You got the two leaders of the team going at it in practice, butting heads, trying to improve the team, improve the chemistry. Because iron sharpens iron. While you got the two leaders of the opposite team, taking practices off, taking games off, running from the grind. Chumps. Exactly what Damian Lillard said. Chumps who run from the grind. Exactly what Damian Lillard said. Chumps who run from the grind. Dame, you were right about that one. So, I mean, it all makes sense now. Like, looking back, like, when all these things are coming out and looking back at all these things and just, like, wondering and being able to piece together all this stuff. Because, you know, you're not going to get the real facts and the real politic until after the fact. So, all this stuff makes sense now. So, I mean, not surprised at all that they didn't win a chip now. I mean, I never thought they were going to win a chip to begin with. Because, one, I was like, Paul George is pandemic Pete in the playoffs, and that he's never going to change. Well, let me not say that, but not going to change anytime soon. That's what I think. But anyways, to my next topic, Josh Gordon. All right. He just recently got reinstated by the NFL. I think it was yesterday, to be honest, or the day before. And my initial reaction is just, damn, how many chances is this individual going to get to become a millionaire, to be a millionaire? Like, and it's crazy to think that, like, I'm seeing DK Metcalf ball the way he's balling, and I'm like, damn, this is what Josh Gordon was supposed to be. Like, they're both, like, Josh is 6'3", 225. I think DK is like 6'3" or 6'4", like 230 or 235. I think they run the same 40, or if not, DK is probably like a little bit faster. But like, honestly, like DK Metcalf's like NFL comparison was like Calvin Johnson and like Jeff and Josh Gordon. So just to see how DK's career is going, and you know that he's not in trouble. He's a good kid, like, you feel me? And he just, all he does is football, and grind. Just makes me think, like, damn, man, Josh Gordon really wasted his career, like a waste. Like, man, he could have been so much. Could have been a Hall of Fame. Like, he had the talent to be a Hall of Fame football player. This is his 6th time coming off suspension, and it wasn't until today that I learned that he's been smoking weed and taking drugs since the 7th grade. He said he struggled with his confidence and anxiety, so he started smoking weed when he was in 7th grade, started drinking lean, and I think he was popping pills. So much so that he got expelled in the 7th grade from middle school and then got expelled again from another middle school. Then he ends up getting kicked out of high school for the exact same thing, as well as stealing credit cards, and got charged with fraud, which was a felony, but, he gets off on probation. But because of that, he wasn't allowed to leave the state of Texas, which is why he decided to go to Baylor in Waco. And eventually he gets cut from there for failing too many drug tests. Then he tries to go to Utah and then gets cut from the team before even playing a snap because he just failed too many drug tests. And I'm sitting here just like, and this is all before going to the league. Somehow he gets drafted in a supplemental draft, goes to the Browns. Suspension after suspension after suspension after suspension after suspension. Literally could not stop smoking weed. I remember one time seeing in an interview that this dude was making $10,000 a month selling weed in college. I'm like, what? That's a lot of money to make selling weed. And I don't know. It's just a crazy situation because he's gotten chance after chance after chance to get right, and he still hasn't done it. And it's just, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't think that people should be victimized and criminalized for smoking weed. But if that's the rules, and the way of the land and what it takes for you to make that type of money, why is it so hard for you just to put it down? And honestly, he's gotten chance after chance after chance. Like I don't know if he even I believe in second chances, but 6 chances, like, damn, come on, Josh. And I really fuck with Josh Gordon too, but it's like the league isn't really doing him any based on what I see now. Like I feel like, okay, he's gonna play like 2-3 games, and then probably gonna get suspended again. To be honest, to keep it 100, and I'm not one to put I don't believe in putting out bad energy or anything like that, but just based on the trends and what we've seen, this isn't gonna be this isn't something I'm not saying something that's far-fetched or out of the norm. But hey, we'll see how that works out. But he's gonna be eligible to play week 16 and week 17 for the Seahawks, and we'll see what that does to their offense and how that works out. But congratulations to him for getting reinstated again. It's crazy though, because Justin Blackmon was never reinstated from the NFL. But hey, it is what it is. And I'm honestly surprised that he was even reinstated again. I'm like, what the fuck are they thinking in that office? And to my last topic, I'm going to talk about Adam Gase, who literally is probably one of the worst coaches in NFL history. So on Wednesday, he threw Sam Darnold under the bus, and then the next day he completely double backed on all of that and had a different approach. I'm not sure what happened, but I think people in the organization were like, "Yo, you're 0-11." And you can't defend your quarterback who goes on various platforms and defends you after every single game. Like, yo, fix that. So the next day he comes out and he's saying all the right things and accepts all the blame and all the responsibility for how bad Sam Darnold is playing. And let me be honest with you. I don't think he deserves all the blame, but he deserves some of the majority of it, a good amount. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday leading up to games, Sam Darnold defends him, says he trusts him, trusts the coaching staff, trusts their game plan, trusts their judgment, and everything. Like Sam, you can't pull up tape of Sam Darnold speaking bad about Adam Gase, even though he deserves to, because he's fucking incompetent as a head coach in the NFL. He might be a nice guy, but as a head coach in the NFL, he's not it. But he decides to bash Sam Darnold. I'm like, look. Regardless of how bad Sam Darnold is, when you suck as much as you suck, You don't get to throw your players under the bus. And in football, coaching matters. You don't get to throw your players under the bus. You fucking suck as a head coach. It's you, and then he decides to let me take some of the blame. I'm like, bro, let me put it on me. It should have been on you from the jump. Like, when I feel like in a certain situation when a quarterback fails, and like if the offense ranks, not just him, the entire offense ranks dead last in like every single statistical category since you became the head coach, I think that might be on you. I think your game plan is trash. You don't call good plays. The team from top to bottom is just garbage. Like, they rank. Oh my God. Adam Gase needs to be fired. Let go. It's shocking to me that he's still a head coach, and like, this dude's 0-11. Obviously they're gonna fire. They have to fire him at the end of the season. It just makes no sense for him to continue to keep that job. But at the end of the day, like, I understand Sam Darnold has played bad since he's the lowest rated passer in the league as of right now. He went 4 straight games without throwing a touchdown pass. That hasn't happened to the Jets since 2013. Geno Smith. That was 7 years ago. In the 7 games he has played, he's averaged 177 yards a game and thrown 3 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, which is fucking terrible. But that doesn't all fall on him. I honestly don't feel like that all falls on him. The offensive line is terrible. They have no good receivers. They're running. Frank Gore is their running back, and he's like almost 40. Come on now. I don't even think, honestly, Sam Darnold hasn't proven to be that guy, but I know he's I can't honestly blame all. Like, honestly, what I see right now with Sam Darnold is what happened to Jared Goff his rookie season when he was with toxic ass Jeff Fisher, the quarterback killer. We'll see how this all shakes up. I'm a really big fan of Sam Darnold because I'm an SC fan. You know, I watched him a lot when he was in college. I watched him I actually watched him every single week, and even watched him in person when they came and played ASU in Tempe. But I'm not going to put all this on Sam Darnold, honestly. I'm not going to put all this on Sam Darnold. I have to see Sam Darnold do the exact same thing with another coaching staff for me to then be able to call him trash. Until then, Adam Gase, you suck. You're like one of the worst. Adam Gase is the biggest turd to ever hit New York. It's terrible. Bad, awful, sucks at being an NFL head coach. And with that, I'm calling it a wrap. This is the end of episode 43. My name is Michael DeLue. I want to thank you guys for listening to Pull Up the Tape, supporting me, rocking with me. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe if you're listening to this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple Podcasts, share this podcast with anybody you know that loves sports. Thank you very much. Viral, movie, shake the room. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. Rest in peace, Nip. Rest in peace, Grandma. Rest in peace, Kobe. Rest in peace to everybody we've lost this year. I continuously do this for you guys to make you guys proud. And that's it.